I'll see you on the next video where I'll be explaining how to measure metabolic base, more or less, with an estimate, right? Because it's not an exact science. It depends on every person. Some people burn more calories than others in the same conditions. It's a genetic thing. Some families have a propensity to get overweight, and some other families have propensity to be thin. Okay, and you know there's some examples of this, and you probably know someone that is either on either one of the extremes. Okay, there's other people that are more or less in the normal range of burning calories. So I'm going to explain about that because there's a theory that is called the somatypes, and it's called the ectomorph, mesomorph, and endomorph, right? But it's not an exact science. It's just a theory which in some evidence has been disproven, in other evidence it hasn't. So I'm going to be talking about that too, so you know exactly, right? Because we're going to base ourselves on actual theories and actual science, and I'm going to discuss the pros and cons. It's not that I think that somatypes are completely true. They're not. I know they're not. But it's an easy way, it's a good theory to explain why there are extremes based on genetic factors that depend on the family you come from and the background too, right? Because it's not only genes, it's also a lifestyle thing. This is what I'm going to explain in the next series of videos. And it's not going to be just one video, because the next video I'm going to explain how to check your metabolic base, know how many calories you're burning a day and how many calories you're eating, so you know how to control that, and you have the power in your hands, because probably you don't know how many calories you burn and you don't know how many calories you're eating. So that's a good first point to start in order to lose weight and see how you're eating and how you can control that and change that according to your goals. All right, so follow me for more, subscribe in order to get the best fitness tips, and I'm gonna go ahead and eat this half pizza. So peace, and I love you guys. Thank you for your subscriptions, and I hope this information is very useful for you guys.
So fast forward to the next video. Remember, I ate the pizza, the ceviche, the cookies. That was 110 calories. And the Ferrero Rocher chocolate, which was 70 calories. And of course the 2 beers, right? So the grand total of calories would be 2,350 calories. So keep in mind the 2,350 calories that I ate for one meal. I'm going to show you now how to calculate your metabolic rate. So you put in Google metabolic rate calculator. It's going to take you to this website right here. Okay, calculator.net. Once again, I'm going to show you in Google. You put metabolic rate calculator, calculator.net, and then you start putting the data. All right, I put my age, my height, and my weight in kilograms, so I can see how is my metabolic rate according to the estimation formula. They have 3 choices: the Mifflin St. Jeor, Revised Harris Benedict, and Catch McCardle. I used Revised Harris Benedict, but you can check them all out, right? So in this website, they have very useful calculators, from body fat calculators to BMI calculators to calorie calculator and the ideal weight calculator. So you can use all of the calculators here, and you can change them easily from one to another. So you just put your stats once again, right? And you put your weight, your age, your height. I didn't put my correct age, but you can get the idea, right? In this case, I'm a little bit overweight, That's okay. That's what I expect, because in this case, the BMI calculator doesn't measure the muscle mass. And that's why I'm overweight, because my ideal weight, according to the standard, to my height, would be 155 pounds. But I'm way heavier than that. I'm 194 pounds. So according to this, I'm overweight. I mean, I'm not obese, class 1, if you can see. I'm just overweight, but that's expected because I've got a little bit more muscle mass, and I still got a little bit of body fat that I could get rid of. So that's why I'm a little bit overweight, and that is expected. So the BMI calculator doesn't consider muscle mass. So remember that, okay? So it's important for you to get the most important part, which is the basal metabolic rate. The basal metabolic rate calculator will help you know how many calories you burn per day just by resting. So this is where you can see 1,900 calories a day just by resting. But then you add all the variables, whether you're sedentary, you exercise, you have very intense exercise daily, or physical jobs. So that will increase the calorie intake that you need in order to maintain your body weight, right? So if you want to maintain your body weight, you keep it according to what is calculated for you, according to your activity level, okay? There's this message right here, or even in this website, they tell you that the metabolic rate calculator is just an estimate, because 26% or more, there is an unknown variance between people. So it's important to read this part. This right here reinforces what I've been telling you, that it varies between people, right? The base metabolic rate can vary greatly between two people. One person can be very skinny even though he eats a high amount of calories, and another person can be overweight even though he eats very little calories. There are other people that are just in the middle of those two extremes, and that depends on the genetic composition of each person. This is where the summit type theory comes along and tries to explain this huge differences between one person and the other. The first one is the endomorph. For the endomorph, gaining weight is extremely easy. They just have to see food pretty much to gain weight. The mesomorph is the person that is more or less in the middle of the two extremes. The mesomorph is considered a normal metabolic rate. So the last one is the ectomorph. This is my body type particularly. And it's also called a hard gainer. And this was true for many years for me. I was very, very skinny, and it was very hard for me to gain weight because I would burn calories very fast. I still continue to do so, but now I'm more conscious that I need to eat a lot in order to maintain my weight. I need to eat more than the other two body types. So which body type are you? Endomorph, mesomorph, or ectomorph? This is important to consider when you're trying to increase calorie intake or decrease calorie intake, because if you want to lose weight and you're an endomorph, it's a lot harder than for an ectomorph. But if you want to gain weight, it is easier for an endomorph to gain weight than it is for an ectomorph. So this can be very useful for people that want to gain muscle, because a person that is an endomorph can gain muscle faster than a person that is an ectomorph. All of the body types can gain muscle. For the endomorph is easier than the ectomorph, but the ectomorph can also benefit from gaining muscle and eating more. This is my reality. when I started eating more and I started training, strength training particularly, I started gaining muscle, gaining appetite, and I gained a few pounds because I was very underweight. For a person with an endomorph body type, gaining muscle will help them incredibly to burn fat and burn more calories in a relaxed state. So all the body types can benefit from gaining muscle. And this is what I preach. That's why I tell everybody to do strength training, because all the body types can benefit from it.